Welcome to the Tourism Hub podcast, a podcast devoted to you and your excellence, providing inspiration and education for the entrepreneurs, experience makers, and excellence seekers of our industry to take your tourism business and career to a whole new level.
Relax.
Tourism is a force for good. When we get it right, it creates jobs, builds communities, and showcases the best of who we are. And the numbers tell a powerful story. According to the latest research by Tourism Research Australia, also known as TRA, as of June 2024, Australia is home to over 360,000 tourism-related businesses. This makes up 13.5% of all Australian businesses, and that's an 11% increase since the pre-pandemic era of 2019. Even more remarkable, 78% of these businesses are solo operators or micro businesses, and almost half turnover less than $20,000 annually. That's an ecosystem made up of heart, hustle, incredible resilience, and like the epitome of doing what you love. Hello, and welcome to the Tourism Hub podcast, brought to you by the Institute of Excellence, the home of tourism and small business greatness. Through our training and our mentoring, I am your host, Despina Karatzias, and it's such a joy to be with you today for another episode of the Tourism Hub. If you haven't already, please subscribe, share this episode with a fellow experience maker, and if you would be so kind to leave a review, it really does help us spread the excellence and spread the tourism love. Now, this latest snapshot, Tourism Businesses in Australia, published by Tourism Research Australia in March 2025, highlights just how diverse, decentralised and crucial our sector is to Australia's overall economy. So what can we learn from this? First, we learn and we appreciate that small business is the beating heart and soul of our industry. Second is that despite economic turbulence and a post-C word recovery path, we're still growing, baby. Third is that now is the perfect time to pause and refocus. Because yes, my dear beautiful tourism brothers and sisters, it's the start of a new beautiful financial year. Hello, FY25-26. And that's really what I want to center today's episode on, is to explore how to use this time of year to reset your strategic business vision, and most importantly, turn those ideas and visions into action and results. I want to get a little personal here too, because today also marks a very special milestone for me. It's been 14 years, 14, since I transitioned into tourism industry training and development and officially launched what would become the Institute of Excellence. 14 years of reinvention, community, a few tears, some from laughter, some from a bit of pain, let's be honest, but spreadsheets, stage lights, stories and strategy. It's, if there's one thing that I've learnt over this past, decade plus, it's this, that we can have plenty of great ideas, but they are only valuable when we validate them and ignite them and set those actions to take them on and bring them to life. So happy business birthday to I And a heartfelt really thank you to everyone who's been part of the journey, and thank you to you for tuning in and listening. Friends, families, clients, collaborators, champions, and the entire community. We're all here because we love this industry and we want to make it as sustainable and enjoyable and have more businesses stay in business and continue to start new businesses. And because when a tourism business starts and when a tourism business delivers, it means that we are experiencing something. We are giving an opportunity to people to explore, to create an adventure, to reset, to be mindful. Like our industry just gives so many gifts. But when we look at the businesses that are delivering on this, we really, that's what I want to focus on. That's why I get up every single day, to help my business community not just stay in business, but really elevate and continue to deliver great experiences. So this is it. That's where this episode is dedicated to you. And we start with talking business vision. Every business, whether you're just starting, whether you want to start, you're bubbling with something of an idea. I remember, my business has been around for 14 years, but there was something bubbling inside me for I feel like many years before that. So whether you're just starting or thinking or you're seasoned and scaling, I believe anyone can benefit from taking a moment to reflect. And this is a great time of year. I'm in the same. I stand and I sit right next to you and around you here in the same boat or the balloon. At the start of this financial year, starting now, if you haven't taken the time yet, I really encourage you to sit and pause and do some reflection, because I feel like it just rolls on one after the other and we just don't take a minute. Take a minute to kind of go, what just happened? And that's it. Just a few key questions to ask yourself in wherever you're sitting in business or in your career, to really think about what went really well this past financial year. What did I nail? What did I do new? What did I experiment with? Or what did I continue to do that went really well? And of course, the flip side to that, what didn't go so well? I know for me, what didn't go so well for me, I experienced, I tried to avoid it at all costs, but for me, my personal health didn't go so well. I became so stretched that I let go of the things that help me function as a well-rounded human. So that's something that I'm really taking on board. How can I, not just for this financial year, never let that happen again? How can I frame my work and my days and what I can start to kind of really say no to really continue to do what also makes me feel really good? So what didn't go so well for you? For me is I let myself it wasn't even last on the list. I just didn't even make the list for most months of this financial year. What were your highlights and what were your lowlights? So if you think about what's the year that there was some things that brought so much joy into your work, and what didn't give you so much joy. Think about that, and we want to really do this to honor we're working at such a fast pace. We don't just sit and even, sometimes yours truly, even the smallest of celebration, we just kind of move on to the next thing. So I want you to take a moment to think about that for you. And of course, what did you learn? What was the greatest learning of the year for you? And more, last but not least, action that you'll take forward into this new financial year. So, just to repeat, what went really well, what didn't go so well, what were your highlights and your lowlights, what was the greatest learning, and what action will you take moving forward in this financial year? So for me, there were things that went really well financially, community wise, some work. I worked with some people and some humans and collaborated in a way that, it's the stuff I dreamt about 14 years ago. But of course, what didn't go so well was just like not prioritizing health at all, which, translated into the lowlights. What I learned is exactly what we're talking about. Put strategic actions in place for goals to be achieved, but also daily practices and actions that I take forward that I actually started on, a month ago, in terms of physical fitness is really important to me. Going out and enjoying a morning run feeds my soul. I let it go. And now just being back and doing new things, boxing. Who would have thought? And boxing is actually, it's been remarkable. I have gotten into that boxing before, but it's been really my metaphor for boxing, and it does relate. Just hang in there with me. In boxing, and something that I keep saying now to myself as I continue on a new fresh year is, and I want to encourage you to think the same, who's in your corner? It's just been the most exhilarating workout and test of coordination and power, but it also, every time I finish being completely debilitated after like a real hour of power, it's been something that I think about, okay, who will I have in my corner for my business and my life? But more so, I do think about business and outcomes 24/7. It's like, okay, who will you have in your corner when you're getting the absolute poo emoji kicked out of you and you go back into the corner to reset, regroup? Who's going to be there to wipe off the sweat, put stuff up your nose because you're bleeding, right? Because business can be brutal, just like you're in a boxing ring. Sorry, it's just something that I've been mulling on every time, and I have come back off a morning session. It was week 4 this week, and I'm just loving it. Not that, I'm not a fighter, but I love the workout. I love partnering. I partner with someone different every week. And every time I do it, I think about, oh my God, people actually do this as a sport. And the punches that you kind of give and that you cop, they're doing this to their, to people. But, what's business? You go out into the world to win, right? To win for your clients, to win for your guests, to win for our industry. You heard, we're still in business. We're recovered from post-pandemic. But we have to also take stock of our personal health and well-being and base our surroundings with people, services, contractors that will help us with the wins, but also help us keep showing up in our best selves. Sorry, that's all I'll say. I wasn't, that wasn't part of the plan, but I have been thinking about, okay, who's to go to the next level as we do reflect. And I've done this piece of work for my own business. I think, well, who's going to be in my corner moving forward? And who's going to be, more importantly, in your corner to help you with your, when you think about your team, when you think about your business and your surrounds and your environment, it's so important. So going back to center, this simple reflection exercise is more than just planning. It's about getting those wheels aligned again, so we're staying on our path. It's a chance to reconnect with why you started this business in the first place, or why you started a career in tourism. Reconnect with what makes you you, your mission, your values, and the impact that you want to make. the impact that you want to leave your guests, your customers, your visitors in? What will you do to ensure that their stay is better because that you had an involvement in it? And that's where this concept of strategic business vision in action comes into play. I recently delivered this very content in a half-day workshop on this topic to a group of, oh my God, they were just the best group of inspiring business owners through the Venture Melton Business Network. The energy in the room was just electric, and the clarity, the breakthroughs, and the shared wisdom reminded me why I started this business. Because, when you've got businesses that are in there that are saying, I've been 10 years in business and I've never done this, I've never actually created a plan for my business, all the work that I've been doing with the quality tourism framework and my family and brothers and sisters at VTIC for our industry, like placing value in planning really does. We are better for it. It helps us get better results than if we didn't have it in the first place. And that is that great analogy. Anywhere we want to go, we get in the car and we place our destination. It's after repetitive visitation that we know where we're going. We don't need to do that anymore. But in the first instance, if we want a different result, a different destination for our businesses, we've got to get to planning and set that up, put that on the map for us. And the best part about this workshop that I delivered recently is that I've also transformed that live session into a new online course, Strategic Business Vision, Turning Ideas into Action. So if you're ready to move from, any level of overwhelm or the opposite, being stuck or unmotivated or, feeling funky, from ideas to outcomes and results, I encourage you and I invite you to check it out. And because, you're a podcast listener, you use the code Tourism Hub 75 at checkout, and a sweet little surprise will be there at the checkout for you. But, that's not of course, that's something there. It's available to you. But if you're not ready for a course, no problem at all. That's what this episode is for. Something that you can do right now to reset your strategy. And that's what I'm going to share with you now. I framed 10 strategic questions to help you with that reframe and reset to realign your business goals as you reset a new page on your financial landscape. So let's go. That's why, the trainers are boxing. Fire up, fire up. I love it. I absolutely love it. I want to do that for our businesses, for our industry. Come on, let's go. Power. Yeah. So, okay, back to center. When we talk about mission and we talk about vision, I love the whole concept of Simon Sinek and starting with why. And if you haven't thought about that for some time, why does your business exist? If you don't have a business, why will your future business exist? And if that's just something that you're not interested in, why are you called to do what you're currently doing right now? So in terms of your mission, whether you are a full-time, gainfully employed human of tourism, or we are here talking about our business and our experience making, what is your mission and why does your business exist? Because that launches into that real problem solving. What problem am I solving for our industry through my work? At the end of the day, wherever we sit, that's the main thing. What problem are we solving? What is making our visitors, our colleagues, what is it about why your business and your role exists that helps others be better today than they were yesterday. Okay? So what is your mission and why does your business exist? I encourage you, whether it's, pause, write it in your notes, keep it for later in a journal. It's good stuff to do and go through. Okay? Your vision for the next 12 months. So now we're resetting. It's 1 July 2025 at the time of recording this episode. What do you want to be celebrating come 30 June 2026? This is where we're placing your vision for the next 12 months. Think about 30 June 2026. What is it that's going to be really like getting you pumped and celebrating about what it is that you've achieved? If you've done any level of values work in your time, it's always a good time to reflect. Write them down. I have my values, it's another story, but I did that with my family when they were little, and I love it. I got a whiteboard out and we did our values together because that's something that I realized I'm doing. Everything I was doing was for business, for my own or for the business I'm leading or managing. But in terms of, I needed to recognize, well, what's my core as Despina Karatzias? Because that then helped frame my business values. So what are your core values as an individual that will then really help guide every decision that you need to make? And as you know, we go on the daily, we're making a lot of decisions constantly, some big, some small. But when you're guided by your values, then it's a very empowering experience. Again, I speak nothing that I haven't gone through and done myself. Even what I am sharing with you here, it's something that I have gone down this path and I'm refining my strategic. It's like, okay, it's 14 years. What does the next 12 months and beyond look like? The most important people in all of our businesses are our guests, our visitors, our customers, our passengers. Who is that ideal customer that you serve, and what journey do they go on with you? Many a time we've heard the whole travel journey, from planning to booking to experiencing. But I really want you to think about, what does that journey look like for your customer? Because that's something that really, that changes, right? So if we are not thinking about not just our visitors, what our visitor looks like, but what does your ideal visitor look like? So that piece of work around, demographics, psychographics, because we go back to the problem that you solve, the more clear you can become on who you're solving it for, then the ripple effect of how it can help you with other elements of your business, from marketing to product development to building your relationships with your distributors and your agent network, changes and becomes more focused and strategic. So think about that. Not only who do I serve, but who is my ideal visitor that I want to serve, and what journey are they going on with my business and my experience? We can't have a conversation about this without swatting it out. And I encourage, if anyone's been in my workshop, there's not a topic that we can't discuss, or a new experience or a new package or anything of that nature that this simple SWOT strategy doesn't solve. So when in doubt, SWOT it out. Right now, in the current environment, in this season, in this part of the year, what are your biggest strengths, your biggest weaknesses, your biggest opportunities, and your greatest threats? We must always mitigate our risk in case of an emergency. Disruption in our industry has many different lenses now. So the more we are aware and in tune and on the pulse, the better we can set actions to mitigate. So your greatest strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But when you do this, also apply that next step to that of okay, what's an action? I've recognized this is a weakness. What will I do? And that comes back to having the right people in your corner. That's definitely something that I'm taking on into this year, recognizing the weaknesses and then being able to say, well, what will I do here? Will I hone in and focus on this weakness of mine and build a new skill, just like just like learning boxing, which is really challenging my coordination, whether I'm copying the punches or giving the punches. But what will that look like? Or will I outsource and bring someone that can help me in my corner with that to go to that next step? Goals. If we don't have a goal, we're just floating in the wind, we're just hoping, we're praying, we're just I hope I just keep doing what I'm doing and hopefully it will stick and we'll do better next year. Smart framework, smart goals, being specific, being measurable, being attainable, being realistic, and being timely. What does that goal look like for you? And, that's many different areas of your business. Of course, financial goals. Start there, kind of a big deal to be earning money, to feed ourselves and our families. But what does that look like for us to achieve a financial goal? Okay, what does that look like every quarter, every month, every week? We are a seasonal beast. So how will we mitigate that so that when it's hay and and the sun's shining and we're making the hay, also how will we mitigate the low season? And of course, then we look at your business model. What does that currently look like? Is it sustainable? Now, sustainable in many different areas in terms of sustainable for self. Is it sustainable for me to do this in my current infrastructure? And of course, is it sustainable in terms of our footprint, our environmental footprint? Is it sustainable? I go back to the finances. We have responsibilities as business owners. Is it sustainable in the term can we honor our tax obligations? So look at your business model. Ask yourself that very question. Is it sustainable? How much, how long can I survive in the current environment if, we go back to looking at our threats, eyes wide open. And of course, when you are, just that pillar of financial goals, what does that look like? What did last year look like? Or the last little while, depending on where you are at in your journey. So, and and I say this now, I know I center a lot of my work helping business development, business owners and managers upskill and be empowered for growth and development. But I think for all of us, what are our financial goals here in right now? What did last year, what did the last 10 years look like? What do we want it to look like moving forward? I know for me, my financial goals, and it was personal. For me at the beginning, the first 5 years of my business, my big financial goal was, it was centered around personal goal of paying off our mortgage. So that helped make different decisions. So in business, now the financial goal has really I've shifted my mindset to how many people can I help? Because that just resonates better with me. So the more people that I'm helping, the more workshops I'm delivering, the more one-on-ones I'm doing, that sits better with me because I know, okay, the more people I'm helping, the more I'll be able to live to celebrate 15th year in business, 16th year in business. So what does that look like for you? What do your financial goals look like? How many people, how many humans did you serve? Came on your experience the year before, and what do we want to achieve moving forward? Because you can see, right, these are broad. These are 10 questions for you to think about. But then when it comes to actions and putting these into our pillars for all sides of our business, operations, marketing, sales, customer service, this is where all these wheels need to be aligned and, on the same tracks to work. And that's where we lead to your marketing strategy to attract, to serve, and most importantly, to retain. Because in our wonderful industry, and like many industries, we have our consumer arm where we are serving and attracting and retaining customers that come to us direct. But we have our industry arm, our trade arm, who are also our customers. Now, they are valuable customers because whether they are an overseas trade relationship, or a wholesaler or a retailer or an online travel agent, how we attracting, serving, and retaining those relationships in our thought strategy, in the way that we market and nurture, so that again, the wheel doesn't stop. We have a momentum and a continuum. And of course, how will you stay accountable, my friends, with a 12-month roadmap and a 90-day action plan moving forward? So this is all about, let's look at the year ahead, and then once that happens, like, okay, we've got the next, we've got quarter one now. What do I have to nail in quarter one that will help me achieve the big goal in your first 90-day action plan? So what does the first 3 months look like if we need to kick up a gear? It is so important. I can't stress enough in all of the work that I've done, especially over the last 20, 30 years of just managing and leading, being in a privileged and honorable position to be in charge of the result of a business. It's critical. It's critical. So these aren't just questions. I hope you can kind of look at this as strategic scaffolding to turn that vision that you have into something that is visible, into something that you and your team can track, you can measure, and you can refine. Because it's one thing to say, we're not performing, but if we're not actually coming back to this and say, well, we said we're going to do this first quarter, how have we fared up? So it's my favorite kind of work to do with my experience making extraordinaires like you. It is something that is so important. Really, this is my favorite work. Bettering our industry, bettering ourselves, bettering our businesses, because the more work that you invest in doing the proactive work, the less we're reactive, and the more we can win. But we've got to know what the win looks like. So if today's episode has sparked a little something, a little fire in your beautiful visitor economy belly to reignite your strategy, I invite you to take that next step, whether that's downloading a workbook, signing up for my course or any course, or simply sitting with a blank journal and answering the questions we just covered. Hand on heart, I know it will make you better. And that's a wrap. I could keep going on and on, but I think we've got a day that we need to address and work that we've got to attend to. So that's it for today's episode of the Tourism Hub, brought to you by the Institute of Excellence. Happy birthday, my little baby. The home of tourism and small business greatness. If this episode did give you some clarity, some motivation, or a teeny inch of inspiration, I'd love you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who may need it at the moment. Ignite excellence and go out there and be better and do better today and this financial year than you did yesterday and last financial year. Happy new financial year, everyone.
Relax.